Hello, my wizardy darlings. Someone I find quite interesting as a researcher is Michael Tsarion. I don't know if you've heard of him. He doesn't get that much coverage in the alternative media. I don't know if he's ever been a guest on Coast to Coast. They tend not to bring the really interesting ones on. But Michael Tsarion, he comes from Ireland. And he has spent a lot of time researching via the Celtic angle of our history. And a lot of his videos are very interesting. I'm going to put some links down below so you can check some of the ones that I really liked out. Particularly his work on Atlantis and Lemuria and the Druids and the Bible. So what his theory is, from looking at ancient Celtic texts and then cross-referencing it with other texts, is that the battle that we're still in today, it all goes back to Atlantis. And what he's saying is that Atlantis was set up by these, I guess, Anunnaki, or some sort of alien being, we'll call them Anunnaki, and they were trying to create a slave race. Now, whether there were already humans here or not, I think there were humans here already. But anyway, for argument's sake, they made it a human being to toil for them. And the first group that they made from their base, which we will call the civilization of Atlantis, were too aware of themselves and their spirituality and their sovereignty and all these kind of things, to the point where they didn't really want to be slaves. So they went away and they set up Lemuria. This is what he says. So Lemuria came after Atlantis and was another breakaway civilization of beings that were sovereign beings who refused to be slaves for their creators. And so the Anunnaki then went back to the drawing board and tried to make a bit more of an obedient, dumbed down version of what they had made that had left them to go over to Lemuria, and succeeded. But the beings in Lemuria were always trying to come and free the beings that were being enslaved in Atlantis. So this is where the original war began, and how it began between the kind of sovereign beings and the slave masters with their obedient servants, we could say. And that this battle is the battle that is still being waged today, that we are in the middle of. So you could see the Dark Cabal as being the children of Atlantis, and the good guys being the children of Lemuria, and that the Atlanteans, they want to seek out and destroy all of the Lemurians, because their battle was so big that it created a huge cataclysm on this earth thousands of years ago, 12,000, 15,000 years ago, that since then, well, they have never repeated using such weapons, because what they did caused such catastrophe that it was just too much even for them. So they kind of held back, and they looked at other ways to try to wage their war. So lots of them died and lost their lives, and became perhaps our gods. And that's, anyway, Michael Tsarion's story. And also another very interesting point he made was about the origins of the Bible. So what he's saying is that there was a group in Egypt who became, through Akhenaten, they became the Atonists. And the Atonists were the one god people who followed an overlord type god, basically. And up until they arrived on the scene, Egypt and the Druids, or the ancient Celts, had a very good relationship, shall we say. And it was only when the Atonists arrived that all changed. And when they were sort of exiled from Egypt, having tried to stage a coup and take everything over, this group left and gradually made their way over to England. This is what Michael Tsarion's saying. And when they arrived in England and Ireland and that whole area, they were welcomed by the Druids. And he's saying that 3 Druid princesses came to meet them, and that when this happened, I think he said they killed the princesses, and then they just went on the rampage and tried to they actually succeeded in just killing all of the Druids They weren't very nice refugees or migrants. They came and then just slaughtered everyone that was there. And then once they'd done that, they then spent their time stealing all of the information from the ancient mystery teachings of the Druids. And he's saying that there were ancient texts and temples that they pillaged and then stole all that information, then destroyed it, but then they recreated it and translated it into being their own information and then sold it on as their own information, kind of plagiarism. So his theory is that the Bible was actually written by people in England that were the Atlantis that had originally came from Egypt, and that they used the ancient mystery school teachings of the Druids to create the Bible, mixed in with bits of ancient history that they rewrote in their favour to make themselves seem like the victims. And then they sold that to the Romans, and then with the Romans' help, they then pushed that as a main religion. And the story of Jesus was actually an astrotheological mystery school teachings of the Druids and other such beings, and that it was the Druids and the Celts that very much had that Trinity as a holy thing within their belief system. Everything was done in threes. They would have 3 kings, they sent 3 princesses. You have the Trinity knot as a symbol that they worshipped. So I find his angle all very interesting, and again, you don't always necessarily agree with every single point someone makes. Some of it is extrapolation, some of it is based in ancient texts, but he's definitely a guy to look into. If you haven't already looked at his work, I highly recommend him. I'll put some links below to some of his best videos that I really liked. But yeah, really interesting. Wanted to pass his information out to you guys and share it. Anything I find that's interesting, I like to share. And one more thing that's very interesting about the idea of the Trinity. Not only do we have the sun, the moon, the earth, and this kind of thing, and the mother, the father, and the child, but some people believe that actually we're supposed to only have 3 chakras, or 3 power centers, not even chakras. But the chakras, some people say now, are artificial implants that help beings from the astral realm, dark magicians and dark souls, demons, feed off us. Whether that's true or not, I can't fully say, but that originally we were only supposed to have 3 power centers. So one was the dantian, one was the mind, the pineal gland, and one was the root. So that would have been a trinity. The father, the son, and the mother. So the mother would be the root, the child would be the dantian, the son, the inner sun, and the father would be the pineal gland. So you would have to go from the mother through the sun to the pineal gland to reach enlightenment. So the journey of the Trinity, and that if we could get back to just having 3 power centers of white golden light, that we would somehow free ourselves from the false matrix of the illusion that we live in. Eric Rains is a great guy for this information. I'll also put a link down to one of his articles down below. But yeah, I'm quite interested in this whole Trinity idea, the whole idea of having 3 power centers in the body to become getting more of the divine energy through the body rather than having the 7 power centers in the body. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not. It's just something that I've been looking into and meditating on lately. So yeah, all very interesting, and I'll put some links below, and I hope you enjoyed looking through it as I did, and much love, one love, and have a great day.